Can you hear me? Oh, it's moving a little slow. I'm gonna let you load up a little bit. Okay, I see you. Can you hear me?
All right. Yes, ma'am. I can hear you. I can see you. Okay. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Thanks for having me. Or thanks for coming on, should I
Absolutely.
say.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so
We're
we
trying
will
to.
definitely go ahead and get started. So, for those who are tuned in, my name is Lanisha Thaddeson. I am a system strategist and operations manager, and you are tuned into Glowing and Growing, where we have female entrepreneurs who come on to tell us all about the amazing things they have going on in their building and their business. And then they're going to give us advice and tips on how we can grow and scale our own businesses. So today I have the beautiful Allante. She is an industrial engineer turned serial entrepreneur who is on a mission to bridge the global wealth gap. She is the founder of Streamline and Scale Company, the leading operations management agency who helps build famine-proof businesses to thrive in any season. And we know how important that is. She travels the world as a digital nomad and consults with professional service providers to streamline operations, scale profits, and sustain success. Thanks for coming on.
Absolutely, Queen. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited for this chat.
Yeah. So to get started, just tell us a little bit about yourself and your business.
Absolutely. So, long story short, my background, like you said, is in industrial engineering. I left the corporate world at the tail end of 2019. And when I originally left, I left completely for selfish reasons. Okay. So I'm one of those weird people. I didn't leave corporate because I hated my job. I loved the company I was working at. I loved the people I was working with. I loved the work I was doing. One, I'm just a rebellious soul, and two, it just got to the point where that unfulfillment became too much that I wanted to really fill that void inside, right? So when I left the corporate world, I had two different ventures. I had a travel business, and then I had an Airbnb property. I was living the dream, y'all, until the pandemic came. So when the pandemic came, I had to shut down my travel business because travel was, of course, shut down for all of 2020. Then the Airbnb property was shut down. So I'm fresh out of a corporate career. I'm fresh out of shutting down my replacement income streams. What am I supposed to do? Right? So I'm very spiritual. So I spent 6 months, I said not to question God, but I spent 6 months talking to God like, okay, I had this elaborate 6-month corporate escape plan. I dotted all my I's, crossed all my T's, made sure it was fail proof, and yet I'm still hitting rock bottom. So that's when I put my hands up and God said, listen, you've been doing your own thing for so long. I need you to come back home to what I called you to do. So that's when he said, I'm going to bring everything full circle. So that's when I brought my engineering background full circle, my coaching full circle into what I do today. And so, yes, I do own and run the Streamline and Scale Company, the operations management agency, where we do two things. We build the business infrastructure for those service-based businesses, and we help them manage the internal operations.
Yes,
So long
and
story
that is
short.
important. Yeah, and people don't really, I mean, and I don't say people, but maybe brand new businesses don't really realize like how important operations are, like having a streamlined operations in their business. Like, what advice would you give to someone who is like brand new in business? Like, why is it important for them to have streamlined processes?
Oh, let's talk about where is mine because I love this example. I'm gonna bring out a little I don't know what you call this, little stress ball, stress heart. So
Okay.
I look at I look at entrepreneurship as two sides of the same coin. Okay, this is going to be our coin for today. So on one side, pretty much majority of everyone in the online space, business owners, we focus on the first part, and that's generating demand. So when you're generating demand, this is marketing. This is getting the word out, letting people know who you are, what you do, what services you provide, who you help, and how, right? That's the first part, generating demand. The second part of that is managing that demand. So once you have the clients and the cash flow, what's the next step? How do you make sure that when the next recession comes around, the next economic and environmental disaster comes around, your business is okay. So when I looked at my first two ventures, the travel business and the Airbnb, I never had a problem with generating demand. My thing was I didn't have any operations, nothing streamlined to manage that demand. So I had to shut it down. That was one of the worst things that could have ever happened to me. And I don't want anyone else out there to ever have to get into a situation when they're dealing with something like that as well. So when you look at entrepreneurship, yes, you have to manage that demand, market, sell, get your clients, get the cash flow. But you need the operations, the second part of that, to keep the boat going, to keep the needle going, to keep the cash flow going, so that you don't be a part of the 90% of those businesses who end up shutting their business down after 5 years in the game. So operations is a non-negotiable. You need it. You need it.
Absolutely. And I love that example because you, like you said, you could be the best person to bring the leads in, but how are you going to manage them when you got them? That's when you need to have those systems and operations. Okay, that's awesome. So how would a growing business, someone who's already have clients, how would they identify like what systems they need to kind of work on first?
Yeah, absolutely. So I like to first start with an operations audit. If you've never had one done before, I recommend at least getting one done once a year, if not every quarter. And so in this operations audit, you're pretty much getting an audit over 5 core areas of your business, starting with your business model to make sure it's scalable, sustainable, and sellable, right? If your business model is, then you're in a great place. Now let's look at how are you managing everything that's happening behind the scenes, the back end. How are you managing your clients? Do you have a predictable way of bringing in a certain number of leads, converting those leads into clients, and do you know your numbers, right? That's when we get into tracking. So you can have that predictability, so you can have that consistency, right? When you have these clients, how are you fulfilling on those projects, right? When you have these projects, what's your support team in place to help you fulfill on those projects? These are things that we don't think about at the very beginning as a solopreneur when we're getting our business off the ground. But once your business is off the ground, now you have to look at administration. You have to look at marketing. You have to look at sales. You have to look at fulfillment. And then you have to look at your team that makes it all happen. And this all adds up into having a seamless operation. So yeah, starting with that in audit, great place to start.
Yeah, and I'm assuming so that is a service that you're offering, that this operations audit?
Absolutely, absolutely. And right now we're offering it as complimentary. So it's a 30, 45-minute session just to get awareness of where your operations stand, right? So,
look, y'all better jump on that now. Jump on that, especially we are in Q4, like when you're setting up yourself for how your business is going to be running next year. I think that operations audit is like right on time. And then since it's complimentary, you know, you'll be able to talk to her. And then if you find out that you need her services, this will be the perfect time to go ahead and do that. So I love that you're offering that because many people are really going to benefit from having somebody outside of their business or not them to take a look at it from a bird's eye view and provide a different perspective. Because sometimes we're working in our business and we don't even we don't see certain things.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it does take that outside perspective. And same thing here too. Even though I deal with operations every day, I still need to seek outside to see what's going on because like you said, we're so close. We don't even see what someone else can see. We don't even see some hidden profit leaks that could exist because we're working in the business and can't really see what's happening outside. So yes, Queen, absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. Okay. So then my last question here, what advice would you give your old self, yourself as a brand new entrepreneur, knowing what you know now? What advice would you give yourself?
That is a great question. And I'll start here because I'm completely unorthodox and I do not look like I should be doing what I'm doing, meaning I'm a young Black female entrepreneur who's formerly an engineer running a whole agency. Where do they do that at, first of all? So I had to understand there is no blueprint for what I'm creating. A lot of us right now are working on something and building and creating something that has never been done. We are the trailblazers. So for me, I had to get out of my own head and say, okay, I'm going to be this new modern day CEO that the world has never seen, that has both the time freedom and the money freedom. I don't have to pick and choose. But I also have to get very clear of, what does this version of a CEO look like for Allante? What it looks like for me doesn't look like what it looks like for you, right? Everyone's version is different. So once I was able to see and paint a very clear picture, okay, this is what it looks like, I can get on board with that, then it lets me to go ahead and create the roadmap to make it happen. But without the vision, without that blueprint, it's kind of like you're running around in a circle or in a car driving with no destination. You got to have the vision, right? The vision, make it plain. And that's where it starts.
Yeah, I love that. Write the vision and make it plain. Like if you are a brand new business and you're starting, making sure that you have your goals in place and knowing exactly how you're going to accomplish those goals. Like, and then one thing else that you touched on, almost is like to stop comparing yourself to other people and where they are in their journey, because everybody's journey is different and everybody's idea of success is different as well. So I love that. Look, you are definitely dropping gems on here today.
Happy to. And one thing I want to touch on that too before we end, like when you understand and know the assignment over your life, understand that your success is inevitable. The path ahead is already laid out in front of you. So you take on that assignment, you own that assignment, and you show up and you walk that damn path. And the rest is history. This is so powerful. This is so powerful.
Yeah, and I had a question that pop up. It says, how do you share with your prospective clients your capabilities in a new industry? How do you share with your prospective clients your capabilities in a new industry?
Okay, so this is a great question, because for operations in the online world is actually kind of new. We know operations from a corporate management standpoint, but this is something I had to deal with when I pivoted. So one thing that we did that worked really well for our agency is, first, you have to educate everyone on what it is that you do. When you're creating, when you're branching, creating your own lane and getting into something that no one really knows about, you have to take that position of educating people of, people know that they have this one problem in their head, but you as the expert, you know what the real problem is. You know what the root problem is. So you first educate them on that so that they stop from being problem focused to now they're thinking about, where's the solution? How can I go out there and get that? So when you're educating them on the problem, they're problem educated. Now tell them what that solution is. It's okay. A lot of us, we don't want to give out so much, but tell them what that solution is so that they can partner with you to get the how of how to get that done. Yeah. So when you're in a new industry, just educate, right? Make sure that you're giving value, you're serving, right? And then tell them what that solution is, that maybe they've tried all these other different things that didn't work for them. There's a reason why it didn't work for them. Tell them why that didn't work for them, and then give them this new unique solution that you created. And that's how you take that position. Great question.
Yes, that is the perfect answer. Because I was thinking about when I started working with my own coach, like she would go live or do these different blog posts and everything, and she was giving out so much education, so many tips that I'm like, if she giving all this out free, like I couldn't even imagine like how it is to work with her, right? So actually showing up as the expert and providing that education, showing the problem and the solution. Don't just be out there telling everybody what they're doing wrong, but you ain't got a solution. A solution to provide.
That part.
Being able to do both. Yeah, and that's how you really show that you're an expert at what you're doing. Yeah, that was the perfect answer. Perfect answer. I love that. Because it made me think about my own experience. Like, I want people who I know that know their stuff. And I only know that if they're talking about it and showing me that.
Yes. And you do such a perfect job, because the name of the game is sustainability. None of us are in the business to have this success and never have it again. So if you want to sustain, you got to make sure that your clients are equipped properly. And how do you equip them? You got to educate them first before you serve and do the things for them or with them.
Yes. Okay. Love that. Somebody that commented, great answer. All right. So if the people want to work with you, want to learn more about you, how can they get in contact with you?
Absolutely. So if you're on Instagram, feel free to send me a DM. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Just type in Allante Collier and send me a DM. If you want to go directly to our page and book your operations audit, just go to streamlineandscale.co. You'll find everything you need to know about the agency right on that page.
All right. So if you're on here now, when we get off, go ahead and go and follow her now. She is a gem. I love her. She is such an open book and such a resource.
Aww.
So definitely take advantage of being a part of her community. And then you have a Facebook group too, right?
I do. We do weekly trainings and we have a couple of different things coming on up for the rest of the year. So if you want to search on Facebook and search for Time Rich CEOs, that's the name of the community. Feel free to hop on in, join us, join the fun. Yes, I'll type it in the chat for you, Ms. Shay.
Mm-hmm. So while she is dropping, she's going to drop her contact information in the chat. She has an awesome Facebook group that I'm a part of, that community as well, that I really love. It's full of information. So go ahead and follow her. And if you're on her page watching me, come on over to me too now. Follow me over. I got some good information for you guys. I got some new services and some new products rolling out by the end of the year, and I would love for you guys to see it. But thanks again for hopping on and being part of this conversation. I really appreciate you.
Thank you, Queen, for having me. Thank you so much for sharing your space and introducing me to your community as well, y'all. Listen, Lanisha, y'all have a gem. So if you haven't connected with her yet, make sure you connect with her, okay? And soak up all of her goodness because she has a lot to offer. You are a gem as well, Queen. Thank you for having me.
All right. Have a good one. Have a good weekend.
You too. Take care.